Okay.
Got it.
So Matthew is the new public affairs, public works.
Public works.
I am temporary. I'm the
Acting.
interim. I'm the, yes, acting public works director.
Right. It's good to have you.
Yes,
Thank
well, all right, I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:28. Let's do a roll call. Caitlin Cummins, chair here. Jane Gaffer,
Here.
Bill Bailey,
Here.
Sarah Curtis,
Here.
Deborah Young,
Here.
Council Liaison Mel Sowett,
Here.
and City Liaison, we got Jesus there, Matt Gurney.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know. I'll have to talk to Lorena about that, see what's going
She
on.
probably forgot that Jesus was gone.
Yeah.
I think she's,
Typo.
yeah, she's using old ones. Okay. Actually, Linda Moore is going to try to join us, and she'll be talking about something about pickleball. She had requested to be on the agenda and we forgot to put her on. So we will, I think, let her talk. We've already welcomed Deborah Young last time, but welcome again. And
Thank you.
glad to have you. It's wonderful to have, a full house. So let's go ahead and start old business. The update on the pool deck. Matt, you probably know more than any of us.
All right, yeah. Pool deck is going underway. They're getting along pretty good. They have taken off down to what they wanted to get down to as far as the level, and then they have put on the first scratch coat down as of I think they were going to be done yesterday, and then they're gonna do some sanding on it the rest of the week, and then starting next week they'll finish that, and then sometime next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, they'll start spraying down the texture, and by the end of next week, hopefully we should have, unless weather messes it up, we should have a new pool deck.
Wonderful, wonderful. And yeah, and the city is able to pay for it from savings, do you know, from last year or?
Let me think. I can't remember off the top of my head where we
It's okay.
put that at. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I'd like to welcome Linda Moore. Deborah knows her probably from pickleball and from
Linda.
Bisbee Vogue.
Hi, Deb.
So Linda, we're just going to let you go ahead and present so you don't have to sit through our whole meeting.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, and see
Okay.
you. All good.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks for letting me, be part of your meeting on this. And it's just a request. My name is Linda Moore, and I'm the Bisbee ambassador for pickleball. And I've been playing here for 5 years or so. And we've developed quite a few players, and we all, meet on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And we have 2 great courts. We love the courts. And, but we sometimes have so many people that it would be nice to maybe have a third option. And what we were thinking about doing was, if it was okay with everyone, or if the city would do it for us, is on the basketball court. A lot of times, there's nothing going on the basketball court. And if we could put down permanent lines that would be sort of in the center of the court, because we've measured it out. There's no way to put 2 courts on it. We can just put the one. And then not to put in a permanent net, but we have a temporary net that we could put in the location. But if we had permanent lines on the court, then we could just throw the temporary net on the court, and then we could have 3 courts. So sometimes we have, you can play 4 per court. So sometimes we have 15 people out there. We only have 2 courts. If we have 1 more, then there would be less people sitting around. We're just trying to discover, to develop some options that maybe we could do. And this would not, like I actually talked to a basketball player today. The basketball players would have first option. You know, if they're playing basketball, we don't want to intrude on that. We're just saying if there's nobody on the court and we have permanent lines on there, it would be easy for us to put up our temporary net, and then we could have 3 courts rather than 2. And that's kind of the request.
What did the basketball player say about the permanent lines?
He was like, well, I was out there playing with after all the group had left, and I was playing with one person, and I've seen this guy out there quite a bit. I can't think of his name, but they used to play a lot on Sunday morning. I guess they're playing on Sunday afternoons now. But he had heard through the grapevine that we were going to take away his basketball court and stuff like that. And so we actually came over and we talked a little bit. I said, no. I said, it's just if you guys aren't there, we don't want to intrude on your basketball. And he was like, oh, okay, no problem. I mean, he was very receptive to it. He doesn't want a permanent net there, which we don't want to do that. We just want to have permanent lines so we could put up our temporary net. So he was actually pretty receptive. He had heard through the grapevine that we were going to take out the court or whatever, but that's not the case.
So how many lines are you talking about? The center line would stay the same, right? But then there'd be all these other lines.
There would be like a rectangle. There's the court is, the actual court is 44 feet from baseline to baseline is 44 feet. And then there's 20 feet from sideline to sideline. And then there's a line that is 7 feet back from the net on each side. And then where you serve into certain squares, there's another line that would cut that in half on each side. I mean, if you go down to the pickleball courts, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but I don't think you could maybe pick up a picture of one right now, but
Yeah, I'm
So
trying
a few lines.
Did he think that it would like interrupt when they're playing basketball to have lines there? He didn't think that'd be a problem?
No, he didn't. I mean, it sounds like it would be, I mean, you know, you put down different lines, but if you're in a high school gym, if you're in any kind of that kind of facility, you have basketball lines, and then you have volleyball lines, and then you might have badminton lines. So it's not unusual to have a few different lines on a court. I would suggest if it's okayed, that we make the lines maybe a different color, like yellow or something, to sort of make it stand out a little bit. But no, as far as, I mean, they don't really, I mean, when they go out and play, they're just playing half court, and they're just, you know, they're shooting around and playing a little bit. It's not, I don't think the Lions would interfere with them at all.
What about the Catholic Church? Do you guys using that for pickleball at all? The playground?
No, I mean, that's basically a very artistic, very decorative kind of thing, which looks good. I think it's locked most of the time, for one thing, but that's just hitting up against a wall. And it's not on the Catholic Church, the surface is very, very rough. It would have to be resurfaced to play, actually put up a net and play on that. Where the basketball court, number one, it's really close to the 2 other courts, but the basketball court is it's got some cracks in it, but it's not too bad. But yeah, the Catholic Church, I don't know what they're deciding to do there. Maybe they are trying to resurface it. I don't know, and actually put courts in. But for the most part, when people play pickleball, they want to play on an actual court.
Yeah, I think the idea in the Catholic Church was more to have classes for kids. So the walls painted so that you can, you know, learn how to, you know, hold the racket, hit your shots, actually make the ball go where you want it to go, which is something I'm still learning. But
right. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a good maybe teaching tool for kids.
At one time we had talked to the high school about putting pickleball courts down there. Is there any interest in that from the high school?
Are you talking to me about that?
Anybody know?
You know, when I was working with Cynthia a little on that, we did go to the high school, but it didn't go anywhere. It's
Yeah.
like you have to work with the schools, you have to work with I think you have to work with the mine too, because they own some of that property.
Mhm.
And those courts they would certainly have to be resurfaced. They're way, way bad. So it's a very expensive project to do that.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard much about that since
Or the
2
tennis
or
courts
3 years ago.
on Vista Park? Could be relined, or, because I think they're not being used very much.
Well, that's actually an option, but I just hear this through the grapevine. I don't know much about it, but those courts are actually used by the high school for their varsity high school stuff. And I don't know if I don't know. That would be it. But like there's 2 courts that are in fairly decent shape that are below, and then there's 2 higher courts. And you could put 4 pickleball courts on 2 tennis courts. I mean, that's what they did in Sierra Vista. But I mean, they have to be maybe a little resurfaced, maybe patched and stuff. But I don't know how popular that would be with the high school tennis. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Matt knows this. I play tennis periodically over there. And it was my understanding that those courts are maintained by the high school. They're not city property, is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they actually are owned by the schools. Okay.
And they're already lined for pickleball. I mean, the net is still the tennis height, but they already have the lines on them for pickleball.
No, those are not pickleball lines.
Yeah.
Those are junior tennis lines. Those are
Yeah.
kids lines for
Yeah,
tennis.
because Kathy Clifton used to have clinics every summer for the kids. And they raised money in order to have those lines put in. And I don't know if it sounds like she doesn't have anything to do with it anymore, but she thought that adding pickleball lines then would just really mess up the 2.
The way I play it doesn't make any difference, but
This is the high school, and I don't know.
Yeah. You would, like, if you were going to put pickleball lines on there, you could put temporary nets up. And I've seen this where on one side of the net for the tennis court, you put a pickleball court in, and then the dividing line is the actual net. And then you put another pickleball court on the other side, and then you have your 2 temporary nets. That's how you can do that. But now I mean, the courts up in Higgins Park are just so beautiful that we all go up there.
yeah, the tennis courts over at Vista Park, they really need some maintenance. There's, weeds growing up. There's a big ant nest on one of them.
Oh, really? Is that on the higher ones, Deb? That one on the higher level?
The ant nest is on the lower ones.
Oh, really? Okay. That's not
Well,
good.
it sounds like the Higgins Park would be the cheapest, easiest, and best from.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. My cousin works for the Tennis Association in Florida, and there's some big competition between tennis and pickleball. In fact, they don't like the pickleball, he tells me the Tennis Association is trying to encourage more people to play tennis, but I think it's like a hardline phone. I think it's diminishing, and he may be fighting a losing battle. But I think the cheapest thing would be to do Higgins Park, and if that gets overcrowded, then maybe go for the tennis court option.
Or
So Matt, what do you
Start
think from
building
the city point of view? Is it expensive? Would you ask them for money for paint or lines or?
as far as hard, I don't know. I'd have to see what I'd really have to do is get with the company that put it down and see if regular paint would be all right on top of that. I'm almost thinking, I don't know, I'm just going off what I'm thinking right now. It might be that if we stripe it with our striping machine that we have now, we can do that. But in a few months or by the next summer, is it just start flaking off because it's not really able to sink into it? I don't know. It might do great. I just don't know.
So could you work directly with Linda on this? It sounds like we've got, well, I guess we could take a vote. It sounds like, we're in favor of allowing that.
I think so.
Should we take a vote? Do we
I
need
think
to
we
take?
should take a vote.
Okay.
And
We have to
what
make a
would,
motion first.
what
We
would
need a
be the
motion.
vote for?
The motion.
To allow
we need to
them
make a
to put
motion.
permanent lines on the basketball court.
Since this wasn't on the actual agenda, I don't think we need to necessarily do a vote and stuff like
That's
that.
true.
Well, we can't do
Everybody
anything.
just wants to say aye. All in favor, say aye. I guess we can do that.
Okay, yeah,
I would be in favor of finding out how much it would cost and what the longevity of it is.
Yeah. Let me just say something. Why don't we have
go ahead.
Matt? Yeah, why don't we have Matt look at this and see what entails, what it will cost, and if it's doable. And then if he believes, we can do something about this, maybe in our next meeting, we can put it on the agenda and vote for it. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Sounds
Very
good.
So it will be proper, it will make sense. We'll have all the information we need, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so
The
I
only
know
thing
that there are temporary lines too. A friend has some, I don't know if it's tape. But you could probably go ahead and do that.
You
Well,
have-
this weekend, we have actually rented the park from, well, we're only going to use it from like 8 to 1. And we have a group coming from Sierra Vista that we're going to just have a mixer with the Bisbee people. So we're just going to put taped lines down.
Yeah.
And so we can do that for a while. I just thought if, in the future, if it's okay to do the permanent lines, it just makes it's kind of expensive to kind of always put down the tape and then take up the tape and then put the tape down. And so, anyway,
Yeah.
this weekend we're doing the tape.
Yeah, there's a kit that you can get that is reusable.
What are you doing about the net?
We have a temporary net.
And that works. You don't need.
Yeah,
to
I mean, it works good enough. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we have
so leave it at-
we've got this weekend, we're gonna have 2 temporary nets, but yeah.
okay. So since it's not on the agenda, we can't really, take a formal vote on it. So I've
Okay.
got it on the agenda, but Matt will look into the type of paint and the, if it's gonna stay and how expensive it is, and maybe
Mhm.
Linda, you can work with him and maybe you guys can pitch in if it's expensive or whatever. So,
Yeah, I can look into the paint too, but Matt, if you want me to help you out that way. But yeah, I mean, if the paint that you guys already have works, that's great, but if we can all pitch in
Those
to
are-
pay for the paint.
there was a
that's what
company that did all that surfacing of the basketball court and the pickleball court. So we don't have that kind of paint. It's my impression.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of paint. The only paint that we have is what we stripe the roads with. And it might work, it might be fine. So yeah, we'll get with you. I think Lorena has your number from your permit, so.
Okay.
And we
All
should,
right.
yeah, we should be meeting in February probably, but we don't have our,
February?
yeah, we don't have our schedule yet.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Linda.
Okay, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Bye.
meeting. All right.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Okay, moving right along. On City Park gates being widened for events, I guess. Do you know anything about that, Matt? It was the Kiwanis or the Rotary came to us and said they were having trouble getting delivery trucks or any kind of good sized truck into the gates on Taylor Avenue. And
Well, I'll talk on first about the actual, nothing has been done. The widening of the gates is gonna be a lot more than just, cutting back the fence, because of how there's the gutter, there's a gutter on both sides of the fence, and how the road is like this going, and you're backing up on an angle. We, as with the city, we go in there, especially for events, quite often. We take our boom trucks in there, our water truck in there, and it's tight, but we haven't had any problems at all. I just think it's drivers that aren't used to it. But I mean, as far as getting trucks through, trucks can get in there, and
Okay.
our trucks that we have aren't small by any means.
but then the gates seem to be broken. The one half of the gate is broken and there's just a chain across or something.
Oh, in the middle?
Yeah.
In the middle. We actually talked to Jesus about that, and I
Okay.
got prices from Frank Tamborski. I think that's his last name, who's Peyton's husband, to replace those gates. The gates right now, there's about a 2.5 foot space between them.
Yes.
He gave me a price of around 2,500 plus to build 2 new gates in that same vein. And that's
Okay.
what Jesus said they didn't have the workforce or whatever to do that. And so I told him I would go to Frank, and I actually went to Daniel Simonis, but his gates would be built in Mexico. They'd be cheaper, but it's more problematic. Whereas Frank is right here in Bisbee, and
Yeah.
he thought he could build them for about 2,500, but then, that's all negotiable, I guess. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about that.
Sure,
I mean, I know that it was discussed about doing the gates and widening, but as far as pricing, I can look at the budget and see what we have. I mean, I think with the parks budget, we should be fine. Knowing what we have in the budget roughly, but I definitely have to look at that and make sure that we're good in the budget. I mean, I could say that my guys in the streets could build one, but we got a big winter going ahead of us with projects too. So I can definitely look at the budget and see how that is. I might.
Looking at it to see if there's money to pay Frank Tamborski or something.
Yes. Because we have some projects coming up in the parks department that is going to be taking a big chunk of change out of their budget. So I just got to look at that project and then this and see where we're at.
Do you want to just mention what those big projects are quickly, Matt?
Yeah, I can do that. We have in the Vista Park, I'll start in the lower Vista Park. We have no sprinkler systems from about the Rose Garden south, and so I'm sure everybody knows. I mean, there's not much grass there, or what is there is not that great. So we are planning on installing a brand new sprinkler system in that bottom half of there, so that we can grow grass. We have farmers market down there. We have other activities down there, and we got together and we really think that'd be something that'd be good for the community of Warren in that area. And then with the big field of Warren, where the flagpole is and everything there, we've always had problems with the sprinklers. We have that big old field, and we have I can't remember exactly. I think we have like 30 or 31 sprinkler heads in that field, and we can only pop 2 at a time right now with how the plumbing is set up. So that's another project that we are wanting to undergo and retrench plumbing for the rows of sprinklers that we have, because they're pretty much, we'll have one long row going the length of the park, and having legs coming down that go that span the whole park. It's hard to kind of show you right here, but and that will allow us to have control valves at each leg as you go down, so I can turn on both ends at the same time, instead of right now when you turn on the water, the whole thing is pressurized, and well, it doesn't even pressurize because it doesn't have enough pressure to pressurize the whole plumbing system. So this will allow us to pressurize and have like 6 sprinkler heads go on at the same time, and then just it'll be now just like the rest of our parks, and be on one of those brains that controls when the water comes on, when it goes off, and which control valve to turn on. That's something that the Parks Department has been getting pricing on for the last month, and we're continuing to do that, and we're looking to do that hopefully in the next couple months.
Great, great. Okay. Any other questions about that or about the city park gates? Let's move on to Tin Town play equipment. Mel, I tried to send you an email asking if you knew anything about the usage of the Tin Town park and the play equipment, especially. It's in really bad shape, but are there any kids there, or do you know? Or
Are you addressing me?
I was at Mel.
Mel?
Oh, me? Yeah, I to be honest with you, I really don't have any idea about the kits or how is it being used. I have not really gone out and done any, so I won't be able to give you an answer.
Okay, I did. I went over there and looked at Tin Town, and I talked to this friend of mine, Terry, who has some property over there. The park looks surprisingly good. It was well mowed. It has a couple of benches underneath a roof type kiosk, and it has some play equipment. But my friend said he never sees any kids over there. But I thought it was in surprisingly good shape, and I did not think it needed any benches, because it had a couple benches underneath a little roof overhang. And I think it had 1 or 2 benches outside of that, but it's a very small park, but it was well mowed and seemed to be well cared for. But
Okay.
and my friend said
Matt,
he'd never seen anybody over there. So, I mean.
okay, Matt, it sounds like Matt knows something.
Yeah, I mean, I've been with the city for 11 years. I used to do the trash, hand pickup and everything. And I've used to go in Tin Town about twice a week, and would over the last several 11 years have not hardly seen any kids over there. I mean, I've seen some, but it's very few. A lot of the kids that I have seen 11 years ago are now teenagers, and they might still live there, but they're not playing on the playground. So,
And I don't think new kids are coming into Tin Town.
yeah, and I mean, I talked to Josh about it, and he said he thinks if we did anything better than what it is, we might have maybe some homeless coming over and trying, just kind of taking over the park like we have at Gore Park.
Yeah.
So just leave it as it is for right now, or think of a better spot for the playground equipment, or?
I would think of a better spot. I have a couple ideas. I don't know if you guys have ideas of what you were thinking, but I do have a
Oh,
couple.
go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking of either Saginaw Park or Paul Park in Warren.
Oh, Saginaw has some nice playground equipment, doesn't it?
It has a few. That's one thing that Josh has brought up was, hey, if they want to add new equipment, Saginaw would be good to add to.
Oh, okay.
Paul Park only has swing set and a slide.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one, I mean, the Vista has, you know, the small playground. That one's getting rough too. The one in Middle Vista. So I mean, it's kind of pick and choose which one. I mean, we can't replace all of them, obviously, because it's just time and money. But I mean, there's Paul Park, and then Middle Vista is eventually going to need to be replaced. There's the metal decking, which used to be rubber, is now metal, so it's going to be hot for kids playing on that, especially little babies and stuff. So,
Well, if someone vandalized the equipment here at Higgins Park, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, and it was like a 10-foot by 10-foot, that meshy stuff that's plastic coated, and it was $1,000 just for that part. So it's really expensive just to even fix a part of that.
Well, there's kids every single day. There's kids in Garfield Park, and they drive there to go to the park. It's not people walking there. They drive there, and it's really heavily used. So it seems like there's an opportunity to put playground equipment somewhere. It's just figuring out, where it would be most efficient.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, my guys are in the parks every day. Garfield, like you said, Deb, is definitely busy all the time. And then there are kids at Paul Park quite often. I would see them even in the evenings on the swings and whatnot, and then even at the Vista Park. But I mean, whatever you guys would want to do
Well,
with that.
I mean, do you need a recommendation from us, or should we just let the city decide what's the best thing, or are there strong opinions on?
No, I just trying to get some information because I haven't been in the meeting. So, is this a grant that you guys have received?
No, we just found out that the equipment's in bad shape and wondering if there's something that, the city should do about it. So this is the most information that we've had. And I like that, that there are better places for it. I'm sure we'd get a letter to the editor though, saying what happened to the play equipment at Tin Town and that kind of stuff. But you could blame it on the Parks Committee, I guess, if you had that problem.
I mean, in another place, I mean, it has it, but right there by you, Kaylin, is Higgins Park. I mean, it has a playground, but it's very limited as well. It's also limited on space.
Right.
But,
more during the summer when the pool's open, kids will, as they're waiting or after swimming or something like that. But yeah, it's not used a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm looking at it, if I look at it, I see we have Garfield Park, a really nice park that gets used often in Old Bisbee. And I mean, there's nothing really in San Jose. Of course, we don't have much of a park really either. So I mean, I would then think of putting something in Warren, some either Vista Park or the Paul Park. But
Are we talking
mean-
about, I'm sorry. Are
go ahead.
we talking about where we would put the Tin Town equipment, or are we talking about, that's all we're talking about is where we would put the Tin Town? Okay.
Yes,
Not
Yeah.
wanting new equipment, just using theirs.
right. Super expensive. Yeah.
And if not that I know anything about kids and use of parks and things, but I thought Paul Park was really low on stuff that would interest kids.
Yeah, that Paul Park needs some love, and it needs that's another thing that we're gonna try and hone in on too. But so
I
Is
think
there
we should not, if Tin Town is not used, definitely move whatever equipment we would put in there to Paul Park or one of these other places we think it would be better served, so.
We're just talking the playground equipment, not benches or picnic
Not what-
table.
yeah.
Yeah, so any other discussion? Sounds like there's kind of a consensus to move the Tin Town playground equipment to Paul Park, but maybe look into how much to fix that one part. Because if it is bare metal, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
At
mean,
Paul
I don't-
Park, you're talking. You're telling,
Or
you're
anywhere. Fixing
to
the
fix the
Tin
bare
Town
metal in Paul
equipment
Park, right?
and moving.
Yeah, so at Paul Park, all there is one gazebo, a set of swings, and one old steel slide.
Is there irrigation?
There are some tree irrigation, I believe, but you can't quote me on that. But I believe there is some there. We have water there.
Okay, so there's some shade in the summer. So
Yeah, like I said, we have that gazebo there.
any other discussion on the Tin Town play equipment, and do we want to make
Yeah,
a
let
motion?
me, yeah, I can, I mean, in conclusion, why don't we have Matt come up with an inventory of where we think we can do, where we can carry this equipment? I mean, rather than keep it open now and find out where will they be best served. So are we we'll put this on the agenda maybe for next time, where he can come up with a recommendation and the cost associated with that? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
'cause
gonna
this is-
do?
Yeah, this is nothing we can vote on or anything.
Okay, not vote, but you will come back with us with some inventory or some ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's all.
And then what kind of, are you wanting just, a list of parks and what's there?
Yeah, and your recommendation, based on
We
what
did-
you know, what's good, what can be transferred, what can be fixed. I mean, rather than just, just keep it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
I like-
think even,
I like your
sorry.
recommendation.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you're fine. I was gonna say, and maybe I can possibly even have take pictures and I can
Yes.
share them on here so they can see kind of what
Well,
condition.
we took an inventory of, we each went to two or three parks and took kind of an inventory. And that's something we could do between now and the next meeting also. Go to the Saginaw Park and to the Paul Park. And, maybe you could talk to, Josh and Daniel some more and see if that's a firm recommendation, and then
Yeah.
come back to us with a recommendation and pricing, and if it's possible to fix it. up
Recommendation
immediately.
on the play equipment we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes,
yes.
What, so I can, talk to Josh and Daniel and get their ideas. What kind of equipment are you guys, I'm trying to figure out, so I know, like, okay, this type of equipment, are we just trying to add a complete playground equipment set, or are we just doing something small? I don't know what you guys were planning.
No, surely we're talking about what's in Tin Town and doesn't seem to be used, where it would be most useful to put it. I mean, that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about new
Not
stuff, are
buying
we?
anything new.
But he
Right.
doesn't, I think he's asking for what exactly would it be? A slide, a swing, a
Yeah.
pony that rocks back and forth? I don't know what the answer to that would be, because we're kind of removed from playground equipment. But like Jane said, the playground equipment in Paul Park was kind of decrepit and nothing that kids would play on. I don't know what they would play on.
I thought, can I just say, I thought that, I didn't think that we were talking about buying new equipment. I thought we were
Right.
only talking about
Oh,
where to put the equipment from Tin Town.
Exactly.
Is
Right.
that right? Is
I
that
agree.
what other people think?
well,
Yeah.
equipment in Tin Town is not much.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of play equipment.
So
right.
you're talking
so-
about removing everything that's there in Tin Town?
No, just the one piece that's for little children, the climbing thing. And
Okay.
leaving the benches and picnic table and gazebo.
Was
but
there a
just
climb?
taking-
I was over there. Was there a climbing thing? I saw a little horse on like a spring thing but
No, there's a structure that has a platform and ladder and,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're talking about the whole playground set.
yeah, that's just one piece, right?
I mean, it's one piece put together, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If that could be moved and how much it would cost to fix it
Okay.
and recommendations for where to put it.
So
Saginaw.
before, when you guys were thinking about doing stuff in Tin Town, what were you planning on doing in Tin Town?
We thought initially, I think, enhancing it. So to remove it, I was thinking we wouldn't put in any new equipment, but we would leave what was there. That's
But
But
It's
if it's
not
not being
being-
used, what's the point of leaving it?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just trying to get a picture of what you guys were planning on doing if it was being used.
Just fixing that one
Yeah.
piece, I think is what we
keeping it
were.
mowed, keeping it nice for our kids, I think, just
Okay.
keeping it clean and neat but now we hear there's not many kids at all going there, so.
So
To
there
remove
must
it,
be I'm guessing that there's something broken on this.
I think it's the rubber is worn away mostly.
Yeah, that's
From
the same thing that's the same exact thing at Middle Vista.
Yeah, the sun takes its toll.
Yeah. So as far as fixing that, I mean,
Is it worth it? That's the question. Is it worth fixing
Yeah.
and removing
Yeah.
and having to deal with reinstalling, or just keep it for now and just make sure maintain, even though it's not being used? I don't know the value of taking an all equipment and moving it to a new, the cost associated with this and the other things. It may not make it to another place. I think we just found out. I think I wasn't at those meetings, but I think my recommendation will be, just since we found out we did not need a new equipment at Tin Town and nobody's using them, leave them as they are, make sure they are maintained and kept in decent shape. And then if we need something else at the other parks we think is needed, that's something else. That's a different discussion.
Get something newer, yeah. I believe
Yeah.
that.
But to move
Yeah.
something that's old and reinstall, I think wouldn't even make it, like moving an old piece of furniture. I don't know if it's worth it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So are we asking Matt to look into getting a new piece of furniture for Paul Park?
That will be another discussion. We can talk about it, and I think it's something that has to be. We have to find out the money for this, and we have to know how we're gonna, pay for this. Maybe.
And what
we
exactly
don't have
it
the
would
money
be.
for this year. Maybe it has to be, on next year's budget. But at least it's good that we started this discussion for future reference. I think that will be
Yeah.
my thought on this.
yeah, it's not something that is in the budget currently.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, but if it could be fixed easily or, cheaply, then it might be worth it.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else in town? We'll talk about it again at the next meeting.
Excuse me, you say the next meeting. We've now got 3 subjects to talk about the next meeting, a couple of which, it would be nicer to do before February. Is it a possibility that we have another meeting before February or not? I hate leaving things for 3 months, if they're worth doing, they're worth doing now.
Well, a
Yeah.
schedule hasn't been set for next year. And it's usually set from November, then 3 months. But we could probably request that our schedule starts in January, or we could request a special meeting.
I would like
we-
one or the other.
Or we could have a meeting every 2 months. I don't
Yeah.
think that's pressing on all of us, is it?
No, but I don't know, well, certainly.
Go on.
I feel like some things, yes, that we do need to move more, maybe I would rather leave it at every 3 months.
And have a special meeting once in a
And have
while.
a special meeting when we need
Okay.
to have
When
it.
it's
Okay,
needed,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Should we request a January meeting then and as a special meeting?
Sure.
Okay,
Do we vote on it?
I don't know. Do we need to?
Matt, will you be ready to give advice about what's in the budget for the City Park gates? And there was another thing, oh, the striping of the
of the-
Pickleball.
Pickleball and
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
you-
no,
will
that's,
you-
that's not a problem, yeah.
Okay, so I would vote for a special meeting in January. I hate leaving things.
Yeah, I
okay,
second that.
Me too.
all those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
opposed? All right, passed. So we will have a special meeting. What are we doing, the second Monday? Ask for that,
I thought it was
Second Tuesday.
Tuesday, second Tuesday.
second Tuesday. Okay, we
Thank
used to do this. Okay, so, Bill, go ahead.
Kaylin, I was just looking up the location of some of these parks. And did you know that there is a website, Bisbee Parks and Recreation?
No.
Yep,
And
Yes.
it says we meet every other month. And there's obviously a lot of stuff that needs to be updated. So I don't know why we
Yeah,
meet
we-
every 3 months, but
Yeah, we've always met every 3 months, so should I, so that's on the website?
it's on the website. I just looked up Bisbee Parks and it says Bisbee Parks and Recreation, a community resource. And it has the committee members, which is outdated, and the times we meet, which is outdated, but it does have a map of all the parks. That's good.
That's good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll ask Lorena about that,
Okay.
check the website. Okay, we've got a progress on the Warren signage. Bill Bailey,
Can we shift, can we talk about Vista Park a little bit? Again, for the repairs, Matt, Jesus, there was a railing. I walk around there almost every other day. And there
So
was
if
a
you-
railing.
this, why don't you bring that up in member comments, because
Okay,
it's not on the agenda.
okay.
Did Lorena send out a request for agenda items to everybody or just to me?
She sent it out.
I think I got it. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if, you're right, if you know that you're gonna, want to talk about something, put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to talk about the signage now,
Yes.
Bill?
Okay, so Deborah doesn't know this, but I would get you a copy of what's going on. We're working with Michael Page and the Bisbee Foundation to put signage, which has started out as signage in Vista Park, announcing that at one point at the turn of the 20th century, it was referred to as City Beautiful. And it was referred to as City Beautiful for about 15 or 20 years. They didn't even call it Warren. And so I've looked up historically articles on it. And initially I wanted to come up with a sign that said Warren, a City Beautiful, and then have pictures of how it was laid out in the old days. And it was essentially, it was a planned community, and it was made up to feed qualified workers to not Phelps Dodge Free. What was the
Calumet,
Calumet, mining company. And there was about 5 or 6 of them in the United States. There was one in Washington, D.C., one in Harrisburg. And because Bisbee had 20,000 people living here, 10 to 20,000 people, they planned it as a City Beautiful. And it had a trolley car running, from Warren before cars, had a trolley car running to the mines over here in Bisbee. And when I first heard of that, I thought, well, nobody's even talks about that. So through Michael Page, who did a kiosk at the Evergreen Cemetery. He drew up plans, and the Bisbee Foundation, when Doug Dunn heard about it, I gave a presentation to the Bisbee Foundation, and they donated a $5,000 challenge grant, meaning they would give $5,000 if we could raise $5,000. And so far now, Mike Page has said it would be around 8,500, which I think it would be more than that. But it was going to be at the north end of Vista Park, where Congdon Street is, and it is going to be about 10 feet wide with a nice little roof. And if you look at, go over to the Evergreen Cemetery and look at the kiosks they have there, welcoming people as you go in the gate, you'll see essentially what it would be like. So everybody so far has thought it was a great idea because it highlights Warren. You drive over to Warren, the downtown is pretty defunct, and it would be nice to have something saying, well, Warren wasn't just any place that just kind of ramshackle came together. It was a planned community for workers to buy lots over there and build their own houses, initially in the Santa Fe style, but then it's kind of morphed into the cottage style type homes that are over there. But it has, the two Vista roadways on each side of the Vista Park, the two wide roadways with trees planted and all that. So, and so far we're going I'm going to see Mel and the rest of the city council members next week, and Mike Page is going to be there, and Doug Dunn wanted me to do a presentation to the city council. So that's where it stands right now. And then we're going to, in fact, Charles Bethea, the treasurer of the foundation, was writing a check probably this week for $4,000 to Mike Page to get this moving and to have it actually built. So it's well on its way to, I don't know why we didn't go to the city council first. It's well on it's moving forward, and the mayor, he knows about it. And so.
What about the other $4,000 or $5,000? How do you?
There we were, Mike Page came up with the idea. He said over at the ballpark, there are little bricks with people's names on it who gave, and I haven't seen that, so I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but little bricks with people's names on it, memorial bricks, and you pay $100 or whatever your donation is, and you get a brick with your name on it. And he planned to have that. We would put that on the foundation. That would be, the 4x10 foundation that this little metal kiosk promoting Warren as a city beautiful, it would be in that area. So, and he thought that it would be not that hard to through Facebook and stuff, get donations to come up with the rest of the money. So
he would.
It's not a huge amount of money, $10,000. It's not.
So Michael Page would organize the rest of the fundraising.
He had mentioned the fundraising, and then I would be working with him to organize that.
So do we need to have a recommendation on this, or
I don't know where we, I just came up with the idea. I'm not building it, so I'm not even sure of the fundraising myself. So
this is just a discussion.
Okay, because we have discussed this many times. Bill's been working on this for at least a year, right? Maybe 2.
No, not 2, but
well, then when you put it on the agenda, it needs to put discussion and approval, then, because how it is on the agenda is just discussion.
Okay, but it's right. It doesn't really need ours since it's not a city project, but we can certainly do that at our
city council.
Okay, so discussion and possible approval. Yeah, Lorena usually does that.
Could I take a minute and get, I could probably, it looks so clear here. I think I could hold up the picture and Deborah could see it and all of us could see the rendering, the drawing. really.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, if if the committee wants to vote on something, it needs to have the correct wordage on that. So when you tell Lorena, hey, we want a discussion and approval, or discussion and approval to send it to council, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
So that's pretty good, huh? That's, of course, shows the telephone pole there.
Yeah.
We would, Matt, we were hoping to put it off to one side of the telephone pole. But what it says at the top, it says Historic Warren. And it's very, Michael Page, if you know some of his work from going to the table and stuff, he's pretty artistic. And this is very, it's pretty cool, So it says Historic Warren at the top, and then it says a city beautiful, because it was one of many city beautifuls designed. And then in the middle there is a picture of the layout. But of course, we were thinking this would be he just did this rendering right there by the telephone pole because that's in the center. But we would move it to one side or the other. So you would drive down Congdon Avenue and you would see that Warren was something back in
Once
those
again,
days.
Once again, though, I have to say, why are we assuming that the only people to see it are going to come from Congdon? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if it's right at the top, looking down, so that it echoes the view. I just don't understand. We're just assuming people
That's right.
will.
So we could decide on that too. I mean, this is Michael Page and I thought this was a better place for it than up at the top, but other people may think differently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
I had the chance to see this, and it's beautiful. And I think it will give Warren an identity. It's like a name badge we never had. The other thing is, as a group, because Bill is going to present to the city council, so I think knowing that he's going in with our backing will help him with the presentation. So I think that's all he needs probably to go in, because eventually the city council has to approve this. So as long as we are all have put our input, we like what we see, we are in support of it, I think that's all we need. Because you go next week, Bill, or the week after?
Next week, next
so,
Tuesday.
Bill will go in knowing that he has the support of this group, and that will be helpful to him.
So do
Okay.
we just all say, yes, we're in?
Yeah, I don't think
Complete
it's an
approval.
approval process, because we are not going to approve. The city council has to approve this, but he can go in with a recommendation that we as a group behind him in this, and that Bill goes in, and we're all good. And then that
Absolutely.
we don't have to keep it going and come in and vote. Okay.
Okay, let's have a show of hands if we
Yay.
support the idea or the plan for Warren signage presented by Bill.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill.
So
Excellent.
Bill, go in. You have our backing.
Okay, let's move on.
Thank you.
Good on
So-
you, Bill. It's just wonderful that you've kept going on this. I do
Right,
admire
and
you.
accomplished it. So
And,
Matt.
I mean,
Well, how does that
Mark-
work? How does that work, Mel, or even Kaylin? Because Doug Dunn told Charles Bethea to already cut a check for Michael Page.
let me tell
And I
you,
don't think he has yet, but it's like he's going to be cutting the check before the meeting of the city council. I don't
Let
know.
me tell you, this will encourage us. I mean, like I said, finally Warren will have a name badge. We don't have anything, and this is
Identity
for
type.
Warren. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
I
a name
think it's
badge.
good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good, okay.
Okay.
Matt, the number 5, 2 benches in Vista Park. We did an inventory. We made recommendations for new park benches, extra park benches. And just last meeting, Jesus assured us that he was going to buy 2 benches and that Public Works would decide the best places for them. We decided on the kind of that fake wood with the metal sides, you know, the strips of wood, or 2x4s, 2x4s for the back and the seat, you know, the
The plastic wood, right?
Right. And so I wondered if that has happened.
Not to my knowledge. However, there are a couple things. One, there's been someone that has donated 2 picnic tables to go to the Lower Vista Park. So those are going to be added. And also, the city manager, Steve Pocken, has also put money aside for small gazebos, 2 or 3 is what he's looking at, to be put into Lower Vista as well. So there's seats coming. It's something we've been working on. So as far as getting those ones, they haven't been ordered. I don't know anything about them. But we do have those 2 that have been donated, and they should be in the park already, or they should be in the park tomorrow. And then that is something that with the gazebos and the benches and picnic table under the gazebos, like there is at all the rest of our parks.
Oh, just metal roofs, Ramada type things.
Either the
Yeah.
metal ones or the roof ones, or the wood ones, that are kind of, I would think it'd be better to do metal, because then we don't have to do maintenance on them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's really discouraging. We put a lot of effort into that. We talked about it for, you know, a year and a half. And he assured us that that was going to happen finally. Any comments on that, or?
Yeah, Matt, I have some. I think you should look into this as soon as possible by tomorrow, and maybe email us or email Kaylin and tell her with someone leaving, it doesn't stop the process. If he had assured them, I wasn't in here in the last meeting. If he had assured them that these were coming, we need to find out if he was telling us the truth. Were they coming? Were they not? At least we can just keep bringing up something,
Yeah, nothing has been ordered. I'll get with Lauren in the morning, but I don't think anything was ordered. I mean, I'm usually the one that kind of orders stuff, for the most part.
And this is news to you.
Yeah.
I knew that he was talking about them, but he didn't say anything about, hey, find some and buy them, or hey, they want these ones. Yeah. But I mean, I can get pricing and look at them. I mean, that's not a problem. It's not hard to buy benches. And
Right.
I know exactly the ones that you're talking about.
Like $500 benches, was that about the price, $400 or $500? And he felt there was plenty of money.
I mean, I can look it up. I don't know off the top of my head, but let me see what I got.
Well, it's just discouraging that, the committee makes recommendations and then there's not a follow through. So we're hoping, Matt, that you can help us with that.
Yeah, let me see.
But if these picnic tables have been with gazebos and everything, the benches might not be needed again. So let's not go ahead with it just for the sake of it, because we recommended it.
Yeah, Lower Vista could be looking pretty crowded, I guess, if there's
I
gonna
agree
be
with that.
2 new gazebos.
I don't know if you can see, but those are composite ones.
Are these
Yeah.
wooden or metal?
Those are composite.
Oh, composite. Okay.
And they last longer than real wood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I know exactly which ones. I've looked at them. I've wanted to get them for other stuff in the past too. There's even, and I even yeah.
Well, would you be willing to,
Oops, sorry. It's hard to flip stuff around on here. So,
would you be willing to like plot out a map of where the picnic tables and the ramadas would be going so that we could make a decision on it next meeting? Or
yeah, I mean, so that I know kind of where were you guys planning on putting these at the Vista?
I think we were letting Jesus and Josh kind of decide the best places. I think we really like one under that cedar of Lebanon, right, Mel?
Yay.
Yeah,
by
these ones, the ones that I've just kind of found right here, are like $425 for one. But there's a company, I can't remember, I think it's Treetop or something, is where you order different stuff for parks, like the dog bag systems that we have for Vista. I got those from Treetop, something like that. But yeah, I can put it a sketch. The gazebos are, I don't know exactly. I mean, we can kind of put something together of where we think would be the best place for them. I mean, we don't want them all in one area.
No.
Trying to spread it out, and with the picnic tables, trying to get them in a place where, there's some shade and as much shade as possible. So
It seems like you would know better. We come up with a suggestion and you would know better where to put them in accordance to the shade or the trees or something. Otherwise,
yeah,
we'd
yeah.
be bogged down and talking forever about exactly where to put them. And
yeah, and I've talked to Josh about it. I've been out there in Lower Vista, and I've talked to him. Hey, we're gonna be getting these gazebos, and we kind of looked at some different areas of where we were thinking. I mean, I can try and see if I can bring up a map and kind of show you what I'm thinking if you want to.
Well, could you do that by email and maybe give us what you think would be good park benches as a,
Yeah.
and prices? And
Yeah.
then, but it is discouraging.
Yeah, I do apologize about that.
Sure.
I was never given a go ahead or, hey, order this or anything. So I do apologize at that.
We'll blame that guy that left.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah.
Are we okay with that? Getting
Yeah, we're okay with that. Yeah, I'm
information?
okay.
What's,
So maybe I'll write that down in my notes.
okay. So under new business, last meeting, we talked about weren't grills in the parks kind of a fire hazard? So I don't know where we go from there. Did we, I don't know if we want to vote that we take them out, or should the trees be trimmed more, or whatever. Did you have anything else about that, Deborah, that you'd like to? And maybe Matt just needs to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, the grills I'm most familiar with are at Garfield. And there's one that's right underneath a huge juniper, and people perennially, break branches off the juniper and light them in the grill. And there's another two that are down in the lower part of Garfield Park. And I just think that they're a fire hazard. People are not careful with them. They use brush to set fires in them. And with, as a member of Firewise and someone who's, very concerned about Bisbee going up in flames, I don't think it's appropriate to have open flame grills in a park. My recommendation would be to remove them.
I agree.
I think there's just one left, or no, there's two left in Higgins, and there's I think an Arizona ash right over it. You can touch that Arizona ash. And the people that are really serious about barbecuing and have parties, they seem to bring their own grills, which I think you can control more. So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, most of the grills you see now are have little propane bottles, and they're 2x3, and they bring them, and they have, it's
Oh, yeah,
easy to-
they bring the big grill.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I've seen them roll big ones and stuff in, when they have a party in the park and stuff. But I just think it's a fire hazard to have those open grills.
Well, so
So-
you're saying it's okay to have the big grill, but not the charcoal grill, right?
Right. I
Uh,
mean, I don't think that we would want to try to control, if people bring a grill in.
Yeah.
But
I know up
providing-
at the Queen Mine RV Park, they do not, I was up there one time with my RV, and I had some charcoal, and I had this nice charcoal grill. I had a big old fire going, and the lady said, absolutely, only the little propane thing, So
Yeah,
that made sense.
Yeah,
So
that's usually what people bring is a propane
That's
grill.
right.
So should we
So,
add this to the
So are
agenda?
we all agreed? Are we all
But do we
agreed?
need
have
to,
to have
do
a-
we need to take them out, though? I think maybe leave the stand there, maybe for the propane. No, but normally, don't they put those propane grills on the table, or? So
No, they
maybe,
bring these big ones
oh,
with
they just bring the
wheels
big
and
one, I
the
see.
60, yeah. So she's talking, I think we need to put it on the agenda as discussion and possible.
No,
Yeah,
Approval
let's,
to
yeah, let's just
remove.
put, yeah, I agree, and then maybe we'll think it and we'll see
Okay.
what the reaction will be rather than just make a decision.
Okay, so let's be thinking about that.
Mm.
yeah, that's unacceptable. People breaking, I can see people breaking kids, not older folks like us, but breaking branches and stuffing them in the fire,
yeah.
And
It
the
happens
pine
up here, too.
needles and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
happens up here too. Okay, so I just threw a discussion on splash pad because I know somebody has suggested that, and it was something that I think came up when we were brainstorming last time. The baby pool was not really used this year because of plaster, I guess. Is that right, Matt? And
But yeah, we
People-
have multiple problems with the plaster, needing to be redone.
But,
Yeah.
there's already water going to that area. Seems like it might not be a monstrous job to turn it into a splash pad.
we had asked Jesus if he could come up with how much it would cost and to convert that. So I guess now that request goes to you.
But that's something that would probably be easy to raise money for the Friends of the Bisbee Pool. I think people would get excited about a splash pad for their kids, even though there's not so many of them.
Yeah. Would you like a comment from?
Yes,
I've always thought of them good. I know in Thatcher, city of Thatcher, they have a really nice one, and a lot of people go to it. Josh did have a little concern because he has heard of, because they're being pumped and filtrated, kind of like a pool, but there's not a lot of surface water type thing, and there's a lot of ways with underground in pipes, or like as they're going into the drains, of ways of bacteria building up and stuff, and it can be harmful. I'm not saying, I mean, but that's just something that he had brought up when I had mentioned it to him, because I try and show parks, my parks guys, hey, this is what they're discussing today. What do you guys think? What's your guys'
Right.
thoughts? That's something that he
so
brought
I
up.
know I think in Tucson, I know at least one pool that they're taking out the baby pool and making it into a splash pad. And I can ask more about that, because I'll be going to Tucson to the pools and the guys there. So that would be something that, maybe we should look into, just to know. if
Well,
it's-
there's no kids getting sick or anything, far as you know, Matt, or, What,
I don't know. It's just a comment that he said. I couldn't tell you for sure. I do know, and it was another thing he said of concern is that it being a splash pad. I don't know. I'm not the expert. That's why I have my guys. They know they're the ones that are out there, so they do this stuff. He said if we added anything more, and maybe just changing the kiddie pool to this might be a little bit different. He said in the summers we're not gonna have much of an actual park crew because we're not all gonna be the two that I have are gonna be focusing on the pool and the splash pad because it's gonna take a lot of time of making sure that we're able to keep that safe for
What
kids.
is wrong? What is wrong with the pool that we have, the baby pool that we have already?
The
The only thing
plastic,
that from our standpoint, the only thing that we need to do is it needs to be resurfaced. Other than that, from our standpoint, that's it. Kaylin or whoever.
Why do we want to change it?
people don't like baby pools anymore. They like splash pads. They're the new thing.
what is the difference really?
A splash pad is a big, like huge metal pipes that come up out of the ground, like, I don't know, 8-10 feet tall, and then water drips out of them, and kids run around and water splashes on them. And then I think sometimes there might be water coming from below too, but maybe not. There's one at Brandy Fenton in Tucson that is still splashing. I haven't really looked at it. And there's one by Reed Park in Tucson. They're pretty popular. Kids love them.
Is that a big expense, Matt, to switch that kiddie pool over? I mean, what are we looking at? We don't even know at this point. do we?
We
I
don't.
don't even have a number.
And how many kids are there that would in Bisbee of that age? Yeah, I mean,
Maybe there'd be more though. You build something like that and parents say,
Yeah,
oh, I'll bring
like
my
I
kid.
said- Yeah, like I said, I've been to because I have friends up in city of Thatcher over by Safford, and they have a good sized one that's nice. And when we went, and I've been by there afterwards, and different times that I've gone, and it's always packed.
They're
So
fun.
and it's all ages. I mean, I wouldn't say anything over
Ken,
preteen and younger. I could definitely see anything
Oh,
over
yeah.
that.
yeah, I think it's
Is
good.
Yeah, and I agree with Kellen on this. It's very popular. It's the new thing. I know I have kids and my grandkids. They love them. Wherever you go, at any resorts, that's what they have. The splash pads. You're right. I mean, it's something probably long term. I don't know the cost. If we have to take the the kids swimming pool and replace it. I mean, it's something that I think we can think about and study it. It is very popular. I agree. A lot of kids, babies don't want to swim in their little pools. Yeah, but but it may be costly, so it's something you have to look at.
Yeah,
But it seems to me, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I would have thought that it was a sort of kids dashing around in a small area on wet surfaces. I mean, is this not an insurance sort of hazard?
That is a
They have
possibility
figured
as
out.
well. I'm trying to pull up something right now. I'm trying to pull up like a video or something so I could kind of show you guys that don't know what it is. 1 second.
Well, I mean, several people have recommended it and asked about it. So the next step would be to find out if it's even feasible. I mean, does it cost $100,000? Is there a liability issue? And when we have that information, then we could make a recommendation and move forward.
yeah, I think
Very
we
good.
need to
Yeah.
get more information before we can
Sure,
think about
sure.
it.
So, would you like me to? I mean, I can show you a video if somebody wants to see what it is in a roundabout. Okay,
Yeah.
let me see about sharing.
The baby pool has a a very new filtration system, and it's bromine, which is kind of nice, but I have no idea if that could be, used. Tucson pools use only bromine in their pools.
A better alternative than chlorine or something.
Yeah, it doesn't make your skin itch. It's nice. It's really nice.
Okay, so I'm just trying to find it real quick. Not trying to take up time. All right. Nope, that's the wrong one. Can you see?
Dump trucks?
We can look them up ourselves on Google.
No, they're still talking about the splash pad.
Let's speed out again.
I think Matt is thinking about the dump trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to be buying one.
Maybe we don't need to do that tonight.
But this is pretty much what it looks like. This is a pretty good sized one.
We're looking at dump trucks right now.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Oh, still, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can redo that.
Who was getting the dump trucks?
I was getting this dump.
Our department, our streets department is in dire need of one.
Yeah,
so-
that's what, and something we've been talking about at the city council. So maybe
yeah.
he was sending me some messages. I don't know.
All right, can you see it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's really nice. I think it's something that will be a hit in this year.
Woo.
All right.
So the one we're proposing would be much smaller, right? I mean,
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
All
right.
All right.
Yeah, I want one of those. So Matt, if you would look into that a little bit, I think we're asking a lot of you this meeting to check into things for us. Can we move on to member comments and hopefully keep those really short?
yes. Can I go ahead?
Keep it short, Bill.
No, it will be short.
Sarah's ready to leave us.
I know. Okay, there at City Park, I mentioned to Jesus the last meeting or a couple of meetings ago, there was a handrail on the stairs going from Brewery Gulch up to Opera, and it had pulled away from the side of the city park itself, and that was reattached. But there's a lot of stucco. City Park is kind of a heritage. It's a neat park. And the stucco is falling off that, Matt, that big stair, and the stucco is all trashed and just dripping. Is there anything it just seems like it's such a nice park that's such an eyesore that those steps are covered with crap and they're not kept up that well. And then the stucco falling off makes it kind of a hazard even to just walk up those stairs. But I don't know why. The handrail being attached, I don't know why the stucco wasn't redone as well. So
That was just an emergency trying to get the handrail up. I'm just trying to go over it real quick. That is something that Josh has seen right away when it was starting to fall off, when it fell off. There's a lot of places on the stairs, pretty much the whole stairs side, and on the bottom side by the restrooms, that whole wall over there too needs to be restucco. It's something that we're definitely need to look at. It is on our radar.
okay, great.
Anything else? Anybody else have anything?
And then can I interject one more thing?
Quickly.
I was looking, we had talked about bathroom doors at Gore Park. And we had a diagram of the metal doors, and I think it was going to be done by the high school. And it had a cactus plant on it. And does anybody remember that? The doors at Gore Park for the bathroom. And then whatever happened, it just kind of disappeared. Is that even a priority? I don't know.
It's not a priority anymore. My previous parks person said that they were broken and they couldn't be fixed. And so she had mentioned, having those built. After she had gone, she had left the city. I had my guys said, hey, let's take a look at our different parks, see what we need to be done, because he was getting into it. I said, just take an inventory of what needs to be done. And that was one thing. And him, Josh, and Robin went over there, took a look at it, got back to me and said, hey, these doors are fine. All they need is they're just coming apart because they're hollow metal doors. We just need to put bolts through and they're good. So
Okay.
they did it and they have no problem. So there's no need to spend the money on it.
They don't need to be redesigned or something. Okay.
No, they're
Great.
perfectly fine.
Great. Okay, anything else?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for letting me part of this group. I really enjoyed it. It's the first time, and I know all of you, or most of you, and I'm happy to be part of this group. I had a lot of fun, and I think hopefully in the future we'll do more and we'll get up with some new ideas. And thank you.
Great, thank
Great.
you. Matt, go ahead.
Go ahead, whoever. Was there somebody else?
No? Okay, go ahead, Matt.
No, I don't have much. Again, apologize for some of the stuff that didn't get done or didn't get brought back to you guys. But I will be looking at the different stuff that we discussed. I got in my notes. So
Right.
Thank you.
We like having you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've written down many things for next meeting, and I'll request a special meeting in January, the second Tuesday. And I'll request an update on the website. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
I
I
second.
second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Bye.
Opposed? Here we go, 6:55.
Thank you.
Well, it was a long one. We got a lot done though. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.